What is going on, Ape Nation? So about 9 months has gone by since the entire, GameStop situation. Not just GameStop, but GameStop, AMC, and those other meme stocks that we were restricted from buying back in January. So 9 months has gone by. We're all wondering, well, what in the hell is being done about this? Is anything being done about this? Where in the hell is this report that the SEC or Gary Gensler is supposed to be preparing and providing us with? So there's not much information on that. There's actually very little information on when this report will actually come out, but that's what I want to talk about today. So we are going to get right into this video, and before we do though, I ask that you simply smash that like button so that the YouTube algorithm shares this with as many apes as possible. Also, if you're not subscribed yet, what in the heck are you waiting for? I drop content just like this every single day, and you're going to have to tap that notification bell if you want to be notified as soon as it drops so that you're always up to date. Anyhow, let's get into this video. So if you're already a subscriber to my channel, you might have caught the series that I've been working on, where I've been showing you guys clips of SEC Chair Gary Gensler testifying in front of Congress, and mostly it's been about issues of PFOF, gamification, cryptocurrency regulation, things of that nature. Well, here's another clip that I've got for you guys, but this time he specifically, or GameStop is specifically mentioned, and also that report that we're waiting on is specifically mentioned. So in this clip, we're going to see Senator Cortez kind of, I'm not going to say she's grilling him because she's actually very nice and polite and tells him she's willing to help as much as possible in order to help the SEC regulate gamification, a few items with crypto that she has issues with, and some other things that are probably going to be less important to you because I know most of you on my channel only care about AMC, GME, and that MOAS. So speaking of MOAS, so what else gets brought up here in this video? You're going to hear about gamification, and why that matters is because their conversation about gamification ultimately leads her to describe 3 apps, which she doesn't mention by name, but I think we already know who they are. I know that at least one of them will be Robinhood, right? Yeah, because they were the culprits in this big old mess that made us lose a lot of potential profits and even money for some of us. After all, that's why Robinhood is getting sued, right? Pieces of spit, I tell ya. Anyhow, she wants to know how Gensler is going to approach this issue with gamification, what he's going to do about it, and that's where GameStop gets brought up, and that's when he starts talking about this report, which he doesn't give an official release date for, but he does say that he expects it to be pretty soon, and a few other details come out, but I'll let you guys watch it in this clip.
Let me jump back. This seems to be the topic of conversation with my colleagues, the cryptocurrency. One thing I just want to verify is the SEC sufficiently equipped, whether by regulation or funding, to appropriately ensure compliance and keep pace in the cryptocurrency market? Do you believe so? And if you don't, then what should we be doing in the committee? What do we need to know to help you with?
I think you've raised both points. I think funding-wise, we could use a lot more people. I just have to be frank with you. I mean, there's 6,000 projects, and while some of those are commodities, many of them are securities under the laws, and many of the platforms are. So we could use some more funding. In terms of legislation, I think what I've said earlier in this hearing is the coordination between the market regulators is strong, and Chair Benham and I have been talking through how to do this, but there may be things that Congress can weigh in and help on the coordination, and also around stable coins, the coordination with the banking regulators. And then there are some things, frankly, a bit in the weeds about transfer agents and custody and the like.
Thank you. And so let me just say, I look forward to working with you on that. Whatever we can do here in the committee to support how we address and look at the cryptocurrencies, please know that you've got support from me. Let me talk a little bit about gamification. When you were here in March for your confirmation hearing, I raised concerns about behavioral prompts and gamification. And I said that free apps that encourage trading could be detrimental to some retail investors. So I know that you were looking at this, Ranking Senator Toomey mentioned that you had talked about doing a report sometime this summer and putting a report out, if I remember correctly. Can you talk a little bit about where you are and your concerns with gamification and how it impacts investors?
So three things. One, on the Gamestop report, we are pretty close. It's in front of my fellow commissioners, and I would assume it will be out shortly. On the quote gamification, we've asked the public through a request for comment to give us feedback. I think the issues there is we are living through a transformational time in America, and we're seeing this in every bit of our society and so forth. But if Netflix figures out that I'm a rom-com guy, and yes, I am a rom-com type of guy, I might see a bad rom-com for an hour and a half. But this is about people's investing future. So what I've asked, I think the core question is if the data analytics are maximizing the platform's revenues, optimizing for data collection, that may be in conflict with maximizing for the user's investment returns. And how do we square that? And lastly, if I could, and I apologize respectfully, say it's not actually free on these apps. It might be zero commission, but you're still paying. The payment for order flow is underneath the hood, and it's still there. And my real concern is about whether the competition is there, whether it's sufficient order by order competition.
Thank you. I appreciate that clarification. And then let me just add one final thing, and I know Senator Tester talked about this, but climate risk. We've seen from the West, and particularly Nevada and California, some of the worst wildfires we have ever seen, and because of the extreme weather, impacting the air quality as well that we breathe. And so I know there was this discussion earlier about why should the SEC be concerned about the climate crisis and climate risk. But would you talk a little bit about this? I understand you have said that investors should be able to understand what is under the hood of green or sustainable funds. What do you mean by that?
So we have, I thank you for asking that. We have a separate rule docket where I've asked for recommendations from staff. There are funds, asset managers that are marking themselves as green or sustainable or carbon free. And just as we walk into a grocery store and it might say fat free, it's like, what's behind that marketing? And I think that actually probably will unite senators in this committee. I mean, what's behind the marketing and the name? And so staff will make recommendations, but I hope that we would say something about that there has to be some metrics standing behind if you're marketing yourself, so to speak, as carbon free or green.
Thank you. And I would assume there's a reason why they're marketing themselves that way, because that's what some investors are looking for. Is that correct?
I think that's right. I think that investors increasingly are interested. Investors get to decide in the basic bargain of our capital markets. Investors get to decide, but investors also get to decide how they make their decisions. All the SEC is trying to do is response to investors, say, here's how we can maybe help bring consistency, comparability, and some decision useful information.